Day in Honolulu, Hawaii. One more game in the Maui Invitational, and it's a good one. 11th ranked Gonzaga and UCLA. With that, we welcome you officially back to the All-State Maui Invitational. A champion has been crowned. Earlier today, it was Purdue edging Marquette 78-75 behind a beast of a performance by Zach Edey. 28 points and 15 rebounds as the Boilermakers were able to take home the Wayne Duke Trophy. The deep field here, it is exemplified by the fact that it is Gonzaga and UCLA playing for 5th place in the tournament. One of these teams will go home from Honolulu, Hawaii with 2 victories. Aloha, ahi ahi, everybody. Good evening inside Simplify Arena at Stan Sheriff Center. Next to Bill Walton, I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Bill, this is a fun matchup to close the festivities this week.
This is what we live for. UCLA, Gonzaga, every team coming in here with the exception of Chaminade had not lost a game at all until this tournament started. I think a couple days ago, but right now we've got 2 teams left standing battling for 5th. Sebastian Mack, this has been a coming out party. Just a freshman here, Chicago, Las Vegas native, the son of a basketball legend here. He has been explosive as the Volcanoes here in the Hawaiian Islands. He's also got the support of Adem Bona, who has been so powerful, so physically gifted, and really coming into his own as just a second-year player recovering from the off-season shoulder surgery. Gonzaga, Mark Few, he brings in yet another fantastic squad, led by the dynamic duo of Ryan Nebhard, Canadian, who's just a graceful, beautiful player, along the lines of a Steph Curry who floats over the court, and then the big, powerful, bruising Graham Ike, who started his college career at Wyoming. He has come to the promised land of the Pacific Northwest, and now these 2 teams who play remarkably legendary games. They come down to the last possession. They're up and down. They're just exhilarating exuberance. The celebration of life is underway. We're the luckiest people in the world.
Yeah, they have had some thrilling battles at the end of seasons in March. This is one that comes pretty early in the season, and yes, for 5th place, but one of these teams going home with 2 wins in the Maui Invitational. Gonzaga controls here on the opening possession. And they're going to go into Graham Ike. Adai Mata getting the start here for UCLA at 7-3. And Ike, also a good passer from his position, able to find Anton Watson for the opening score. As we take a look at tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Hawaiian Airlines. Again, Adai Mata going to try to help fortify the paint defensively with Adem Bona.
A little bit interesting, to say the least, starting lineup selection for Mick Cronin in his 5th season, who's brought the Bruins back from the dead, invigorated the moribund fan base. But
here's Lazar Stefanovic, who has had a strong shooting tournament. A little strong there, though, on the shot. And then Sebastian Mack gets fouled in the act.
But in the other game that the Bruins played at the beginning, when the Bruins who'd they play in the first round?
Yeah, UCLA lost to Marquette 71-69. Right. That was a thriller of a quarterfinal matchup as you take a look at Mick Cronin.
But that was the rugged game that this game promises to be. Now, Adai Mara, he started in the Chaminade game, which the Bruins got off to a comfortable lead of 28-4, and then Chaminade outscored them the rest of the game. But this is a huge test for Adai Mara.
UCLA probably thinking, Bill, as Adem Bona is able to clean up the spill after the free throw miss, UCLA may be thinking what might have been, save for a 17-0 second half run by Marquette in that quarterfinal matchup. UCLA may have had the opportunity to move on. Marquette ended up getting past Kansas to make it to the championship here of the All-State Maui Invitational. Bruins may be thinking that could have been us.
You're talking to the wrong guy when you say what might have been. It's what is. And Gonzaga, who has owned the Bruins, this is the 9th all-time meeting between these 2 schools. First time was in 1999, December, and Gonzaga, who've been dying to play UCLA, they go into Pauley Pavilion the first time, and they take the Bruins to school and hand them a rare home court defeat at Pauley Pavilion. But now with Adai Mara having to come out and play at this very high-level game right away, Lazar Stefanovic's long bounce over the top of the backboard gives us a chance to welcome back Mark Few to the coach. 25th season as the head coach, 35 years overall. Crestwell, Oregon, one of the world's finest people, great, inspirational, shining light of a human being, incredible coach, historic level basketball program. Spokane now watching great play.
That's another dish as Ike finds a cutting Watson for the flush. So 2 buckets for Watson, 2 assists for Ike to start the scoring for the Zags.
And the fan base for Gonzaga has turned out big time. Anton Watson.
And here's a strip away by Watson, and then a foul by Mata. As we take a look at our good hands play brought to you by Allstate. Good hands, good ball movement right here.
Good quickness, the attack of the Gonzaga Bulldogs. The give and go and the throwdown. Mark Few loves to play a super fast game. Just get it going up and down. And if you're not ready to start the game, if you think you're going to warm up into these games against Gonzaga, you've got another think coming. Bruins would like to play a more controlled game, grind it on defense, and then find a hot hand offensively.
And Ike draws the foul on Mata. That is already his second.
And Kenneth Nuba quickly up off the bench. Bruins will stick with a big Cronin off that bench in the referee's face. Got a great crew here tonight. Bart, Randy, Kelly. Kelly with just 1 E, but 2 L's.
Yeah, Randy McCall is the head referee, and then you have Kelly Pfeiffer and Bart Lennox as the officiating trio. And so here is Graham Ike, the 6'9" redshirt junior.
So when Graham Ike, who's a wonderful player, when he sees a player like an opponent like Adai Mata, you want to turn and face that guy. You don't want to play your back to the basket against a guy who's 7'3".
Ike, who's averaging a double-double here in the tournament, 15 points, 10 boards, goes 1 of 2 from the line on that trip.
Working his way, as is Ryan Nemhart, to being a member of the all-tournament team, but there'll be a lot of competition for that. How many players make the all-tournament team?
A lot of candidates. Usually it's 5 players. A miss there by Dylan Andrews, and we're going to have a whistle in the backcourt.
And now Mick Cronin is coming with Berke. Just a freshman, a young player from Turkey. And so UCLA starting Twin Tower rotation already with 4 fouls between the 2 guys.
Well, you have 2 on Mata and 1 on Bona.
That's 4 fouls between the 2 of them.
I believe it's 3, but
just 3? Okay, my mistake. What day is it? What game is it?
It's Thanksgiving Eve here in Honolulu, Hawaii.
And Gonzaga and UCLA are playing, right? Okay, I'll try to get this figured out.
7 p.m. start time here locally. 4 seconds to shoot. Graham Ike over Nuba. And the rebound off to Sebastian Mack. How about the tournament Sebastian Mack has had, averaging 20 points a game. And it looked like he may have shuffled the feet. Yes, he did.
Traveling violation. Mick Cronin just beside himself.
UCLA going 2.5 minutes now without a point.
This Bruin team, a ton of talent. No need to make excuses. The most successful basketball program in the history of the sport. But the experience that Anton Watson brings to the team.
Ike off balance. And they're going to call another foul. So UCLA piling up the fouls here early. Already team foul number 4. And that one's going to go against Nuba. So now among the 3 post players mentioned, Mata, Bona, and Nuba, 4 personal fouls.
So we finally got to 4.
We got to 4.
But with a third person.
That's right. As Ike hits the free throw. Ike 6 of 9 from the line coming into this game. Had a double-double, 16 points, 14 rebounds. In the day 2 win over Syracuse, a convincing one, 76-57. Gonzaga opened the tournament with a loss to Purdue, 73-63. They were 0 for their last 16 from outside the three-point line in that game, but they held a lead of 9 at one point in the first half.
Now, EK was with Gonzaga a year ago, but redshirted with injuries.
Good pass underneath by Berke, but the block at the rim. That was Watson with the denial, and then an out-of-bounds call that sends it Gonzaga's way. And the Bulldog fans who made the trip out to the islands, drinking it in.
Fierce, tenacious, what we live for.
Exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands. Ace, the helpful place. Tommy Bahama, shop for your team gear at TommyBahama.com. And Principal, when you take care of your team, they take care of business. An inauspicious start to this game for UCLA, Bill. 1 of 5 from the field, 3 turnovers, and 4 team fouls.
Yeah, but if they make one basket, they're right there. And the Bruins find a rhythm, get your guys used to the level of intensity. The last time UCLA played here, this is UCLA's 7th time in the Maui Invitational. They've won 1 championship. Gonzaga, this is their 6th time here. They've won 2 championships. But when you go from UCLA playing against Marquette in the first game and then Chaminade, okay, now they come back with a real opponent here, and you got to pick that level up right away.
Ike going over his right shoulder there. How about the tip? They're going to give that to Watson.
Well, Watson is playing very, very good basketball after a non-event first game when Gonzaga lost to Purdue, the eventual champion.
Nuba, a couple of fakes, and he ends up getting fouled by Graham Ike. Take another look at this putback as Nuba looks like he is grabbing at that left arm down there on the floor.
Kenneth Nuba is a stud. From Lagos, Nigeria, we can only hope that he is okay. Bruins season a year ago derailed by a shoulder injury to Adem Bona. Now he's, whoa.
And we saw a bit of that tomahawk strip attempt there by Graham Ike.
Fortunately, the Bruins have just 2 of the absolute best in terms of the health and wellness situation. Adem Bona coming back in, and that's Tyler Lesher, who's now the trainer in his 3rd year. Tyler, congratulations, recently married in this off-season. He's supported by Nate Germa, also 3rd year strength and conditioning coach. But those 2 guys, man, they work these guys and they get them ready.
So Berke Butengel will shoot the free throw with Nuba
does that
having
make
gone
it
to the bench.
So Nuba cannot come back into the game if he can't shoot the free throws?
I believe because he left due to injury, it allows another player to shoot the free throw. He will be allowed to enter back in.
So what's to keep the guys from faking an injury if you don't want to shoot the free throw?
Well, you're going to have to be off the floor at least for the inbounds that follows.
Well, I understand, but I thought the rule was if you couldn't shoot the free throws, you couldn't continue playing.
Here is the 3 ball from the outside. That was Dusty Stromer who left it a little short. And as you mentioned, Bill, UCLA, a little rough here at the get-go, but a bucket cuts it to 2, a 3 cuts it to 1.
It's
a little over
early.
5 minutes in.
These games go down to the last possession.
Berke splashes down from 3. Making his season debut for the Bruins in this tournament, was cleared by the NCAA and ruled eligible just prior to this All-State Maui Invitational tipping off. Here's Hickman left alone for 3. The follow there, and Watson a little bit of everywhere at the start for Gonzaga.
When Watson plays like this, it's nearly impossible to beat the Bulldogs. But on Berke's 3, it's nice to see that even though he's from Turkey, that he's been watching ESPN for quite a long time. He's already got a signature sign after making a 3. as opposed to just running back down the court and playing defense.
This is a fun matchup right here. Bona and Ike able to hold firm on that occasion.
Turn and face against a big, strong opponent.
Well, Watson had a notion. Now puts it on the deck. The turnaround. He is feeling it. 10 points of Gonzaga's first 13 here for Anton Watson.
Watson in his 5th year now with Mark Few, part of so many big games, big moments. NCAA tournament, deep runs, Spokane native, local guy, and Gonzaga prep as well. Timothy Egan country. Anton Watson, you see the poise and the patience. Just comes right in, playing against a longer, bigger, taller guy with incredible range, Berke. But basketball always comes down to skill, timing, and position.
Anton Watson in his 5th year with this Gonzaga program. A local product from right there in Spokane, as you alluded to.
But also spending all those years with Drew Timme.
Yeah, that helps. You're right.
Learning how to be a truly great player.
Ryan Nembhard unable to hit on the pull-up. The tip also off the mark from Ike.
Okay, the Bruin guards have not been able to make any statistical contributions as of yet.
Deep touch for Bona, and he draws the foul. And if that's on Ike, that's number 2.
A lot of fouls called early for a 5th place game.
Well, we're wrapping up here at the All-State Maui Invitational. The ESPN Events Invitational begins tomorrow at 12 Eastern. You got Penn State and number 12 Texas A&M to tip things off. FAU Butler, followed by Iowa State VCU and Boise State Virginia Tech over in Orlando, Florida.
And that'll be held at those fabulous sporting facilities that they have there in Orlando, right?
That's right.
Where the NBA went for its bubble championship tournament. Just so many different opportunities there in Orlando. Whoa.
So Graham Ike indeed picking up foul number 2 here, Bill. Just over 7 minutes in.
This game promises to be extremely physical. Now, Mark Few, a Hall of Famer, can't believe he's not already in. Braden Huff checks in from Glen Ellen, Illinois, part of Chicago. There's a Glen Ellen spelled differently in California, where Jack London spent so much of his time. Check out Irving Stone's book about Jack.
Bona goes 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Yeah, speaking of guys who practiced against Drew Timme, Braden Huff, who redshirted last year, imagine that was quite a learning experience for him, going up against a guy who will go down as one of the best to do it at the college level.
All time. And both of these schools, big-time producers for the NBA.
Huff gets fouled. That one trickles off the rim, but he'll shoot free throws.
The referees are determined not to let this game get physical. And that's sad, because none of these players are dirty players. And that's what the foul rules are all about. To not give anybody an unfair advantage by someone taking their own way with the rules. That's not the type of people, personalities, or players that these guys are.
Huff misses the first free throw. The 2022 Illinois Mr. Basketball, and was a 4-star prospect by ESPN.
That's a big-time award. Mr. Basketball in Illinois, that includes Chicago.
Goes 0 for 2 on that trip to the line. Already 16 fouls for UCLA as Berke leaves it short. Rebound cleared by Stromer.
Dusty's playing a superb floor game already. His high school was a masterful contributor to the professional ranks in a lot of different sports, including football and basketball.
Huff gets loose, changes his mind, finds Watson, and of course Watson will score. He's got 12.
Poise, patience, and the ability to deliver peak performance on command. Plus Watson, he does not mind getting physical with a big, powerful opponent like a Dem Bona.
Watson already at his season average, 12 points per game.
Ball movement in a game that's physical, but being very tightly called and controlled, give and go. the way to get open. You got to keep moving here. But now they call a foul back on Anton Watson. What a game early on. Zags by 6.
I just kept thinking, like, is this a bad dream? Probably the most difficult part was just the lack of any life. First priority was to help wherever we could.
The fire that came around this tree was over 3,000 degrees. So even if the tree had not been charred and burned, it had been baked.
With us having water trucks and access to water down here, it was very kind of easy to say, hey, let's water the tree and see if that helps it.
This is the first growth that we saw on the tree. And everybody was freaked out. They came back and took pictures of it. You know, everybody's looking around into the canopy, picking, oh, there's one right over here, one over there. And I think like 3 weeks later is when the thing started just going off. So much life, a lot of life, yeah.
But the community build that has happened, the love that we've seen, aloha that we have seen from this has been outrageous.
And knowing that the tree is here on Lahaina, the fact that my generation, future generations to be able to experience is something that is really heartening in a disheartening situation.
The resilience of that tree is a small symbol of survival.
And there's a look at Bill Walton. You also got to tour that area and take a close look at the life that is being shown through the devastation there at the banyan tree. You can learn more about how Maui is recovering from the devastating fires and the ongoing need for support by visiting hawaiicommunityfoundation.org.
As someone who has faced death myself early on in my now 71 years, hope dies last. And to see what the tree has been able to do. The tree has got us started. Beautiful back cut by Bona. Cannot finish inside. Quick hands by Braden Huff. You cannot finish what you don't start. And the tree has started us off. The rest is up to us.
Pull-up shot good there by Nolan Hickman, and Gonzaga with its largest lead here in this opening half. Ben Gregg, by the way, had that block on Bona underneath at the defensive end.
Gonzaga is more experienced. We'll see how the talent plays out over the course of the next 2 hours.
Sebastian Mack in traffic, unable to finish, and it goes out of bounds. It'll belong to the Zags. Mick Cronin during the timeout, Bill, letting his big fella know what he wants from him.
Challenging young Adem Bona, and the chair taking the punishment itself. Fiery, tenacious Mick Cronin, the fastest start in the history of UCLA basketball for any coach in the sport.
What a finish there by Nemhard, right into Berke.
Played for the Canadian junior national team growing up. Spent a lot of time at Mount Verde High School in Florida, even though he's from the Toronto, Ontario area. Younger brother of another Nemhard star at Gonzaga.
Yeah, Andrew Nemhard, who did the same thing, transferred into Spokane after some time at Florida. Ryan Nemhard, who was an all-tournament selection in the 2022 Maui Invitational at Lahaina Civic Center last year, transferring to Gonzaga here in this season as Adem Bona picks up his second foul.
So Ryan makes the all-tournament team on a second-place team, and that is not easy to do. But Creighton last year, an excellent team, but they were handled by Arizona won that title a year ago.
Yeah, Arizona defeated Creighton in the championship.
And Umar Ballo was the most outstanding player.
So it is UCLA trailing early here by 11. It's an 11-1 run for the Zags. Whoa. This is Elon Fible who tries to cut into that deficit. It goes out of bounds and belongs to Gonzaga. What are the Zags doing that's making things so tough for the Bruins?
Just their traditional way of starting the games ready. And that's Mark Few. He says, look, we're not wasting any time out here. We're playing every aspect of the game, and you better be ready to play. And the Gonzaga Bulldogs are, and the Bruins a little sluggish, a little shell-shocked. What a pass.
What a save by Stromer.
No reset of the clock.
Shot there by Hickman off the mark. Offensive rebound.
Bring it back out.
Ben Gregg working underneath.
You old enough to remember A.C. Green,
Oh, yeah.
who became the Iron Man for the history of the NBA? So A.C. Green, notorious, a great offensive rebound, wonderful guy and everything, great teammate. But you know, he played on those great Laker teams, and every time he got an offensive rebound, no matter what, he was going to shoot it again. He wasn't getting a lot of shot opportunities. A lot of whistles in this game.
Yeah, in fact, Gonzaga already in the 1-and-1 bonus after that last UCLA foul. Whistle goes against Gonzaga there. Berke Buklingel picking up his second personal moments ago.
Elon Feeble getting a lot of looks early on here. Number 8 for UCLA and Mick Cronin. Massey, France. Sebastian Mack. He really hasn't had any sort of good looks. Hickman has been doing a fantastic job defensively.
Yeah, just one shot attempt for Mack, to your point, Bill. Nice dish to Berke. And he will go to the free throw line after yet another whistle.
A game of attrition here, and it's going to be who can come up with enough depth to be able to field 5 live bodies by the end of the game.
Foul goes against Ben Gregg, his first, and Berke to the line. You know, we mentioned these two teams have had some battles over the years. And most recently, we had the Final Four matchup in Indianapolis in 2021. Jalen Suggs hitting the game winner from near half court off the glass in that one. And then they met again in the regional semifinal last season in Las Vegas. Julian Strawther hitting the eventual game-winning three-pointer.
Gonzaga has won all of these games.
They've won 3 straight, as a matter of fact.
Well, it's 6-2 lifetime.
Yeah.
Including the very first game between the two at Pauley Pavilion, December of '99. But the games take so much out of Gonzaga because they come right down to the very end. What they call a foul for? Going for the ball?
And Braden Huff looked like the elbow caught Sebastian Mack on the side of the dome. UCLA, no field goals over the last 5.5 minutes.
If the guards are going to run into the big guys going for the ball, and they're going to call the foul on the big guy for just being big, what are we doing? Well, one thing, you know, Mick Cronin has begun to rebuild the fan base, and to see this great Bruin contingent here, led by John Branca, legendary everything. John has brought his family over here to Oahu for the holidays, and built around this incredible city. James Michener telling the story of the way these rocks became paradise over millions of years. Mark Twain talking about the most beautiful place on earth. Clarence Darrow coming over here to fight for truth and justice. Common sense.
There's Watson. Watson's been filling up the stat sheet already in this game.
So come back to him.
Oh, they heard you. Here he is for 3. Why not?
When you got a hot hand like Anton Watson, wow.
15 points, 4 rebounds.
Milk him dry.
He's got a steal and a partridge in a pear tree.
Have you ever been milked?
Here is the drive by Dylan Andrews.
Great rebound. Watson just dominant early on here.
Yeah, this has been an amazing performance here to this point.
It's very early. And the challenge right now, Gonzaga has been the better team through the first 11.5 minutes. Mick Cronin working the referees. This get your guys to calm down, stay poised, stay together, keep working every possession. Contrasting styles here, Mark Few, Mick Cronin. Mark Few, been there for so long, what he's been able to do. They've been in the polls, Gonzaga, 136 straight weeks. The next closest team currently is Houston at 67. That's basically twice as long as the second place team.
Strong drive there by Sebastian Mack. What do you think about the veritable coming out party that we're seeing from Sebastian Mack this week?
It's fantastic. And what the Bruins need to do, though, and it's more importantly than Sebastian playing well himself, and more importantly than just coming to Honolulu Maui Invitational and beating Chaminade as your lone victory so far, is to find a rhythm, to find a style and an identity for this current team. You've got a ton of talent. Can they come together? And they got a star in the making, just being born here, like the islands were when the volcanoes reached the sea years ago. I missed that.
Braden Huff picked up his second foul. He went to the bench. UCLA got 4 different bigs who each have 2 personal fouls. Good defense there by Feeble against Watson, who has obviously had the hot hand early for Gonzaga. More on Anton Watson when we come back. 23-14, Zags.
A rugged and ragged game trying to find its way to a better place.
Let's take a look at tonight's expert moves, brought to you by Principal.
We love Principal and Principals, and Antoine Watson has just done it all. Give and go, quick delivery, playing against a Dembona who's just so powerful and explosive, rugged himself. But the ball movement for the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and the way they play, how they play, and who they are themselves, that has all contributed to Gonzaga having won 13 straight games against Pac-12 opponents. That is a staggering accomplishment, and congratulations to the WCC, West Coast Conference, or as we like to say, the Best Coast Conference. But that, you know, when you're in Hawaii, the Best Coast is right where you are.
That's right.
And a big circle around.
You're surrounded by coastline, yes.
This archipelago, oh my gosh.
UCLA
dream
9.
come true. Hickman is playing very good basketball.
UCLA, Bill, 9 of their 14 points coming from the free throw line. No field goals since the 14:33 mark. 5 seconds to shoot here for the Zags.
It's early. Offensive
push
foul
off there
on
called
Nembhard.
against Nembhard.
Dylan Andrews standing in defensively, and the quickness, balance, and a sense of anticipation that Dylan Andrews has. But it's this game, we're really sort of looking for some consistency and some flow. And neither team has been able to reach it with a lot of excessive whistles.
Yeah, you've had 19 personal fouls called. No foul called on the contact there. It'll be out of bounds off of Sebastian Mack.
Don't encourage him, please. We're trying to get one trip up and down the court without a whistle. It's like the shoot-arounds where it is. Instead of actually shooting, it's a listen around. Somebody's talking all the time.
Nembhard trying to go high off the glass with Nuba stalking.
How will the Zags play without Anton Watson, who's been by far the best player? Oh, good to see Nuba back in the lineup now.
And then Feeble cleans up the miss by Nuba.
Like the Andy Over drill.
Ilan Feeble, 6'6" freshman from Massey, France.
June.
June Suk-yo. Yes, 6'8" sophomore from Seoul, South Korea, fresh into the game. And the Zags love to see that.
Okay, now, I've seen it, so I know it can happen. We've gone a couple of possessions without a whistle.
A reason to be thankful this week.
I'm grateful.
Lazar Stefanovic steps just inside the arc.
June, so
And
strong, so
with
powerful.
Lord. Arrived in Spokane in January after playing at Korea University in Seoul.
The globalization of the game, and Mark Few with Tommy Lloyd, who was able to bring over the wave after wave of international players. But today, UCLA has more international players on their team than Gonzaga has themselves. And with a city like Los Angeles and the talent pool and base there, and Mick Cronin opting to go for incredible players: Nigeria, Turkey, Spain,
Both teams in the
Serbia,
double bonus. as you see them.
Slovenia, France. Trying to find a player from Los Angeles on the team. There's Devin Williams from the Inland Empire, Riverside. Great hands defensively.
Nuba came up with it, tried to flush it. Hey, guess what? We have a foul.
Didn't take long.
College football rolls into week 13 on Friday. It's Texas Tech taking on number 7 Texas at 7:30 Eastern over on ESPN. Then Saturday, number 5 Florida State faces Florida at 7 Eastern. Then wrapping up the night on ABC, it's top-ranked Georgia versus Georgia Tech.
Nice to see Ben Gregg playing so well in a reserve and versatile role for Mark Few. I think when you visualize the history of Gonzaga basketball is motion, speed, team, skill, interchangeability, versatility, and a positive culture and environment. You ever heard of the Positive Coaching Alliance?
Yes, I have.
June! Heat
June.
check.
That's right. Goes a little long that time.
Will McClendon be an offensive spark here, but very limited opportunities right now for any of the Bruins. Dusty Stromer all over the floor out of there.
Yeah.
Notre Dame high school grad in the San Fernando Valley. Same school that's given us Jamie Dixon, a fabulous coach for TCU. Terry Donahue, the Bruin legend, recently passed away. He also went to Notre Dame. Kristen Dunst, the actor. Ed Begley, Jerry Mathers, I knew him. I knew all those guys. Then Mike Mullen, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Going to have a foul here on the drive by Nembhard. The discussion as to whether or not there was a goaltend after the fact.
But that Notre Dame list, that does not include all the guys that went to the NFL.
And that one hit the glass
the board
first.
first,
And so it will be discussed here. The foul called against Feeble.
Everything will be discussed. But-
Take a
but
look at this.
That is goaltending, unless they're going to say it had no chance to go in.
They're going to count the bucket after a quick review. You mentioned Jamie Dixon and TCU. They're going to be here in Honolulu for the Hawaiian Airlines Diamond Head Classic in December.
Had the privilege of having dinner with Jamie at the Pump Foundation annual gala at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in August. What an event that is every year, my goodness.
So
This guy, Ryan Nembhard, is such a glorious player. I watch these guys and I could just dream and imagine, as you mentioned earlier, what might have been.
the first half that has featured 22, make that now 23 personal fouls. That shot
Count it.
will count. Somehow goes down from Sebastian Mack.
You can't score without getting it up. And Sebastian Mack is more than capable of doing that. Now, that's a hot hand right there.
That's when you know things are going your way this week here in Honolulu. Ben Gregg picking up his second foul there. The foul accumulation will be a factor in the second half, you would imagine. And then the foul shooting will also likely be a factor.
We're already there.
Under 5 to play here in the first. 10-point advantage for Gonzaga.
Let it fly, Dusty.
Tries to go with the runner. And the rebound corralled by Stefanovic.
Dusty should not be bashful about letting it go from behind the three-point line as he comes around.
Bounce pass, a little hot to handle, but somehow Nuba secured it.
Why take it into the land of the Giants?
UCLA shooting 21% here so far in this game. Here's Nuba. The hard bounce. Stefanovic, little mid-ranger, got it.
Beautiful. The touch, the instinct, the natural feel for the game. From Serbia, from Belgrade, starting with Kresimir Kosic.
Here's Greg for three, rims out. Here's Stefanovic, bodies hitting the floor.
Spacing for the Bruins needed in the break.
Sebastian Mack, what a move! And
Now
it's down to 6.
You seem surprised.
And another turnover. Here's Andrews. Oh, the Euro step got denied by Ben Gregg.
Fabulous plays. It's like Ben Gregg just got out of Bagby Hot Springs.
Hickman for 3. Up and down action here in the 5th place game of the Maui Invitational.
Now this is what we were hoping for. Timeout UCLA. What a night. What a game. What a crowd. What an everything. Zags, Bruins, Bulldogs, Bears. Arr.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. And by Novavax. Choose to protect your family and loved ones this holiday season with Novavax. We mentioned some of the great battles between Gonzaga and UCLA. Let's go through several of them in recent years. 2006, Adam Morrison, part of that Zags team, lost to UCLA 73-71. Adam Morrison in the building.
I was there.
And then you had 2021 in the Final Four in Indianapolis. And the running shot by Jalen Suggs from near midcourt off the glass for the win. And then this was crazy. This was last year in the Sweet 16. You had the go-ahead 3 by Amari Bailey for UCLA. And then that was followed up by Julian Strother. And what was ultimately the game-winning shot. Adam Morrison, who had 24 points in the Sweet 16 matchup versus UCLA, now doing Gonzaga radio.
Adam Morrison is fine a guy as you'll ever come across. A Spokane native who went to the public schools of Spokane. Adam Morrison in the Maui tournament of 2005, he was the MVP on the second place team. He scored 43 points in a triple overtime semifinal game that went against Michigan State, and then they came back and they were beat the next day. UConn took him down, but Adam Morrison able to garner the most valuable player award of the Maui Invitational.
Nice pull up there by Dylan Andrews out of the timeout. Yeah, you include the 2018 championship with Rui Hachimura in the gang against
I was there
that
for
Duke
that
team
too.
that had Zion and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish. And I mean, Gonzaga's had some of the more memorable games in Maui Invitational history.
Ben Gregg again. That dude is everywhere.
Oh, no call there on that contact. It's an open look from the corner, but the miss there by Hickman. And now a whistle underneath on the fight for the rebound.
Don't encourage the refs when you say no call, please. We've had far too many already. The players will adjust. The refs need to adjust as well.
And that's the second foul on Jun Suk-yo.
Gonzaga, which has been in the top 10 for 7 straight years as a team, as a program. Overwhelming success. Bruins trying to get back to that level.
Shot there by Lazar Stefanovic, averaging 12 points per game here in this tournament. Gonzaga outscoring UCLA 8-0 off of turnovers. And also 10-2 in fast break points, but it's a 5-point differential as the dust continues to settle here in this first half.
You seem surprised. This is the way UCLA plays. They're never out of it.
Oh, just winding up with the basketball in that mosh pit was Ben Gregg, who lays it in.
Bruins might want to pay a little bit of attention to Ben Gregg. They're ignoring him has allowed him to make a lot of very positive contributions for Mark Few.
Oh, Mack changed his mind.
Ben Gregg again.
Yeah, he bothered that shot for sure. 6 seconds to shoot.
I thought you were not allowed to catch your own shot.
Here's Nuba.
Great hands, Nuba Nemhard.
Got to get it off. He does. They're going to review it, though, as that was awfully close to the expiration of the shot clock. Randy McCall, Kelly Pfeiffer, Bart Lennox having to perform a couple of reviews here, and looks like it's still in the hand as the clock strikes 0.
There's no lights around the backboard, though. The horn is very difficult to hear, but referees Kelly, Bart, and Randy quickly on the call of no basket. Correct? Did I?
Yes, that was the quick review and the quick ruling. So wave off the bucket. Gonzaga by 7 here, under 2 minutes to play in the first.
Nice the way that Gonzaga gives up the ball without having to make the ultimate play. Willing to let a lot of players be involved in single combinations of action.
Gregg from straight on. And it's going to be a foul, and it's going to go against Stefanovic, who appeared to have strong box-out position. And the UCLA fans, as well as Mick Cronin, let's just say, unhappy. And Cronin pushing the envelope a tad.
They liked it at the other end.
What do you think here, Bill?
That's a play on.
Meanwhile, Jun Suk Yo to the free throw line. And a strong performance in the 2021 FIBA U19 World Cup in Latvia. Scored 21 points against Team USA, a USA team that featured Gonzaga alum Chet Holmgren.
June is a very promising looking player with great balance and court sense, playing in a system that suits his skills. Up tempo, passing, take advantage of wide open opportunities. Ben Gregg.
Nuba couldn't get it to go, but he'll shoot free throws. So 8-point lead here for Gonzaga. The Bad Boy Mowers battle for Atlantis continues tomorrow. First round results, you see North Carolina and Villanova will meet in the first semifinal, 2:30 Eastern on ESPN, and then it's Memphis and number 20 Arkansas. Arkansas outlasting Stanford in double overtime to close the action on day 1.
And that North Carolina-Villanova, that's a rematch of a NCAA championship game a few years ago that the Tar Heels thought they had won until, I believe it was Jenkins with that wonderful play that Jay Wright and Dana Altman have implemented last-second shots. And Marquette could have used a play like that today.
Bill, the free throws quite simply have kept UCLA in this game. They're shooting 29%, but from the free throw line, 15 of 20.
UCLA's right there. This game is just getting started.
Nemhard somehow worked it up off the glass.
Looked to me from here that Nemhard was grabbing the hand of the defender so that he could get by the rotating and adjusting and switching Bruin.
You're saying that was a veteran savvy maneuver there by Nemhard?
Well, he's sharp as can be, and he's played in a ton of big time games.
Nuba picks up the foul. That's his 3rd, and so you mentioned battle of attrition as more post players for UCLA piling up the individual fouls.
It's a sadness that we don't get to see Dembona play. I mean, we don't get to see Graham Ike play. This is the 5th place game, please.
27.
If we could get our great crew to try to save that play, that drive to the hoop from Ryan Nemhard, and see if he did in fact grab the defender's hand as he was trying to reach in and poke the ball away.
27 personal fouls called in this first half.
28.
Make it 28 and 1 though for Dylan Andrews.
For the Bruins to be great, they've got to learn how to play in every different type of game, and the guards have got to score. Dylan Andrews and Sebastian Mack more than capable of scoring. The Bulldogs from Spokane are going to have to realize that Dylan Andrews is right-handed and promises to be so throughout the rest of this tournament.
And maybe beyond, huh?
I would assume, but things do change. Okay, we got Brandon Williams in now for the Bruins.
Saw the free throw numbers. Here's a poke away by Sebastian Mack, but chased down there by Hickman. Now Nembhard tried to leave it for the cutting Greg. Out of bounds it goes. UCLA basketball, 32.9 on the clock. And a timeout taken. We'll take a break as well. 5-point game in Honolulu. Welcome back here. Honolulu, Hawaii, the site of this year's All-State Maui Invitational. Happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are following over on the East Coast. We are still at about 8 p.m. Hawaii time. And so a lot of people still out in Waikiki enjoying some of the features. Here's a little rewind to Ryan Nembhard. You talked about him grabbing that arm of Nuba, and it looked like you were confirmed there via that replay.
Kenneth Nuba, who's really come into his own here, but when Ryan Nembhard reaches out and grabs his arm, it's what Moses Malone used to do to you all the time. Moses on his way to one of the great careers ever as a 3-time NBA most valuable player, never even went to college.
About a 3-second difference between the clocks here. 15 to shoot for UCLA, trailing by 5. In what has been a herky-jerky first half of play in the finale of the All-State Maui Invitational. The miss there by Mack. We have a whistle under the glass.
You keep encouraging them.
I'm just saying what happened.
When the Bulldogs are playing their defense, these Bruin guards, they want to get to the hoop. Andrews and Mack. So they're not looking to shoot from behind the line. UCLA not a great three-point shooting team, not a volume three-point shooting team.
So here's Brandon Williams, the 6'7" freshman from Queens, New York. He turned 18 years old earlier this month. Mick Cronin having to go deep into his bench. In fact, both coaches having to do so with all of the fouls being called.
I believe that Brandon Williams from Queens, New York, is the youngest player in the Conference of Champions this year.
He hits 1 of 2 from the line and then gets subbed out here.
So a lot of guards here
left to
from
play in the half.
Cronin. Spread the floor if you're Gonzaga. Give Nembhard the room. He'll make a right decision.
He's got to shoot it. He will.
A rough shot.
Feeble got a piece of it. The Zags led by 13 points with 5 minutes left, but UCLA, via the free throw line, primarily able to work their way back within 4.
You don't need to dribble the ball up for your own shot on the last possession. Set up somebody else.
See the field goal shooting for UCLA. So it's a 4-point game at halftime. Coming up after the break, we'll get you to the studio. Back to the All-State Maui Invitational. This is the capper to the whole deal. Gonzaga and UCLA. And Bill, despite all the fouls in the first half, we had some moments.
Beautiful basketball at times once they got going. Anton Watson, he set the tone early. Mick Cronin not happy. The chair taking a beating there, as well as the floor. And then shot of the tournament. Count it and get to the free throw line. Sebastian Mack continues to play well. Well, that was the second shot of the tournament. The 75-footer in the championship game was. But as we come here to the moment of truth here between these two great legendary, historical, traditionally beautiful basketball teams. The first half was a very tough one. A lot of fouls, just didn't really ever find a rhythm. There were 29 foul calls, 40 free throw attempts, 26 made, excuse me. And now in the last 20 minutes of this great tournament, the Maui Invitational this year held in Honolulu, we've got a chance to get another epic, climatic finish for the 5th place title. Gonzaga, UCLA, whose games seemingly always come down to who has the ball in the last possession. We can only hope for that. We can only hope that I can learn how to talk before this game starts going again.
UCLA, if not for the free throw line, it could be a different looking score. 17 points from the field in the first half, 17 points from the free throw line, accounting for their 34. But as we start this second half, it is a 4-point game.
And the shot clock did not start.
Yeah, the shot clock didn't start, so no foul here, but they will stop play momentarily.
It was quite the event during the 15 minutes of halftime, where they had a drinking game promoted on the big video board above us, and the crowd was really getting into it.
There were some who participated. It was, a chugging contest.
I didn't see you on there. But
No, you didn't see me.
At least on the video board. So this is the starting lineup for the Bruins.
That's right. Here is Andrews inside the arc. That one off the heel. And Stefanovic going airborne for the offensive board, and a fresh 20 here for the Bruins.
Timing and position for Lazar. Just the sense of where he is, where he needs to be, and where that ball is going.
Dembona lost it, got it back, and then just muscled his way past Anton Watson for the deuce.
You're taking your life in your hands when Dembona turns and faces you. And the strength that he has, and the power and the explosiveness.
Played just over 7 minutes of that first half, did Dembona, because
Dembona only had
2
7
fouls.
minutes. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you had the UCLA front court. We're talking about the starting post players and Bona and Mata, as well as their reserve bigs. They had a combined 13 points and 9 fouls in that first half. And meanwhile, Adai Mata, who got the start tonight, picks up his 3rd and has to make his way back to the bench not even a minute into the second half.
Mick Cronin has been reluctant to team Bona and Berke together, which I think is the strongest combination at this point for this young Bruin season.
Yeah, he brings Nuba in instead. Ooh. And it's Nuba guarding Graham Ike. Ike also playing only about 7 or 8 minutes in that first half. 2 seconds, he's got to get it up, and they're not going to get a shot off. Ike got doubled and then just got squeezed out of the play.
And Mark Few was over there telling Ryan Newmark, we got to start earlier. You can't just waste any time out there. This crowd desperate for some flow. And not just in the drinking game.
yeah, there was some flowing at halftime, but of a different variety.
Let it flow, let it grow, let it glow.
And we got a foul. This is going to go against Hickman on Sebastian Mack. Mack ended up with 10 first half points to go along with 6 rebounds. And a great free throw shooter, Sebastian Mack, shooting 85% on the season. He was 6 of 7 in that first half. Was 13 of 13 in the 2-point loss to Marquette in the opening round.
Let it fly, Lazar.
Got it.
Bruins ahead. Go figure.
Just the 3rd 3-point try of the game for the Bruins, and the 2nd make.
Now where's the offense going to come from for the Bulldogs?
UCLA's first lead since it was 3-2.
This is where Nembhard has got to keep everybody together.
Watson finding Stromer, who falls to the floor, and it's Stefanovic who's able to clear it. Something about these two teams when they lock horns.
But this has become UCLA basketball as a foul called on Nemhard. But
That's his second out on the perimeter.
when things just look absolutely hopeless, when they can't get anything going, and then all of a sudden they take the lead. But Mick Cronin, he teaches, he coaches winning basketball. The guys are in shape, they play hard, they play together, and they play to win.
Just grinding this game out so far, but it's a 9-0 UCLA run going back to the last minute of the first half. Here's Bona from the elbow. And a whistle underneath. And that's going to go against Nuba. And that's going to be number 4 on Kenneth Nuba.
And now we get to see Berkay. How many fouls on Berkay before he checks in?
Berkay has 2.
In how many minutes?
I don't know how many players don't have at least 2.
How many minutes for Berkay to get those 2 fouls?
Berkay has played about 8 minutes.
Okay.
Mick Cronin, he is making his opinions known to the officials. Jump hook there, Anton Watson. He was the big point scorer in the first half for the Zags. 15 points, give him now 17 to end that UCLA run. And it's Gonzaga back on top.
Well, Mark Few is a huge believer in that you got to put points on the board. And always one of the highest scoring teams. Great defense by Ike.
That's a fun matchup, and Bona gives the too small gesture on the way back to the defensive end after scoring on Graham Ike.
Both of them, Ike and Adem, incredibly strong. Adem a little lighter on his feet. Down the lane.
Nemhard.
That's goaltending.
And it's going to be a foul, and they're going to count the bucket. At the other end, this is
Watson. Utilizing the jump hook, invented that move by Billy the Hill McGill from Utah in the Conference of Champions. And then great footwork by Adem Bona. And that hitch back to the right baseline there when Zach Edey and Hunter Dickinson incorporate that into their game, the efficiency will skyrocket.
So Adem Bona leaving the floor after picking up his 3rd personal foul. So Devin Williams, 6'10" Frosh from Riverside, California, into the game.
An excellent player.
They're averaging only 4 minutes per game so far this young season.
They got a lot of players on this winning team, and he's one of a long list of real promising talents.
Nemhard completes the 3-point play.
Champion player in Southern California on the high school level. I think 3-time champion.
Brandon Williams, the up and under move. Left it wide left.
Guards are going to have to rebound for both teams if this game is ever going to get a real flow to it. Don't be afraid to pass it.
I'm going to try to set up Ike against the freshman Williams. Extra pass, it's Stromer for 3. Ike, the tip doesn't go. Last touched out of bounds by the Bruins, it stays here.
Pursuit of the ball. Who's willing to fight for possession down low? Ike, Bona sadly on the bench.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. And by Allstate. You're in good hands.
Aloha, Maui. Even though we won't be there, we're still very proud to play in a very small role and hopefully bringing a little bit of joy to those that have suffered so much.
We love that place. We love the people there. Been praying for them and are hoping and wishing and trying to help to get them through this and hopefully move forward.
The scope of the tragedy and just how all-encompassing it is and how much work has to be done. But the human spirit is unbreakable. While it bended, like the steel, like the structures that were destroyed, but the people, The people of Maui are coming back, and the leadership, guys like Bill Self, Mark Few, absolutely fantastic and critically important.
Here's Hickman stepping into a three out of the timeout, and he splashes it.
Hickman never changes his expression. I mean, it's like he's standing in line at the post office while draining threes, making defensive plays.
You know, Bill, when Mark Few says he loves Maui as Mac drives in, and he'll go the other way here for Gonzaga in transition. An 8-2 run for the Zags. When Mark Few says he loves Maui, he means it. Takes his family on a trip annually out to Maui. Had a little bit of work to do with Team USA at the FIBA World Cup this past offseason, but in most years, Maui is a special place for him and his ohana.
And as we spent time with Mark this week, Mark was raving about the chance he had to work with Steve Kerr, Ty Lue, Eric Spoelstra, and Grant Hill running USA basketball as the United States took 4th place.
Step back three rims out by Andrews.
In the World Championships in the Philippines. But they were on the road, I think, for 43 straight days during the summer. Calling another foul here.
Yeah, he's going to be down in the post away from the basketball. I think they're going to get Brandon Williams.
Brandon Williams just getting started, so very young from Queens. Got a lot of experience there, but now he's playing against a man in Graham Ike, who reminds me so vividly of Willis Reed from Grambling. Oh my goodness, what a player he was. What a spiritual force of nature.
And we'll have a whistle on the drive by Watson. Friday night, it's another NBA doubleheader. The Miami Heat take on the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden at 7:45 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, and then the Spurs go up against the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN and the app.
Great season for the NBA and the in-season tournament making it happen. John Prater from Prater Flooring, who did this floor, did all the in-season tournament floors for the NBA. And you see all these teams, and with all the attention focused on Wemby, Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga, he has been the best rookie this year. Now, he didn't play at all last year, and that's why he's eligible to be considered for Rookie of the Year. And if that voting was held today, which it's not, he would be the NBA's Rookie of the Year. Chet Holmgren just leading the Oklahoma City Thunder to the 2nd best record in the Western Conference, tied with Denver behind Minnesota. Minnesota's really playing. That was another foul, right?
Yeah, the OKC Thunder on the come up for sure. Ike picking up his 3rd. The foul totals individually for Gonzaga. Everybody that has played has at least 2 fouls, including several who have 3, now including Graham Ike.
How many do you have?
I think I have at least 3.
I fouled out in the open.
Oh, the reach in and the takeaway by Stefanovic. Ahead it goes to McClendon, who draws the whistle.
Are you old enough to know who Wilt Chamberlain was?
Everybody knows who Wilt Chamberlain is, right?
I'm just asking, are you? Okay.
I mean, I didn't like watch the 100-point game or anything.
Wilt's argument all the time was that they changed the rules. They changed the rules to make it easier for the players today. And that rule right there, that violation of the rules of basketball, where you're allowed to double dribble, not by Will McClendon, but by Lazar Stefanovic. When he stole the ball off his hand, hits the ground, that's a dribble. And if you're allowed to pick it up and then dribble again, that backs up Wilt's statement that they changed all the rules to make it easier.
Let's take a look at exactly what you're talking about here, as they call a tie-up going out of bounds. We'll get back to that in a moment.
This happens all the time. He steals the ball off a dribble, and then he starts dribbling again. And it happens literally 10 times a game. And they have all these excuses where they put fancy words to explain what it is, but If it hits your hand and then hits the ground, that's a dribble. Please.
They get it to Watson here in the mid post.
The poise of Anton Watson, just spectacular. I mean, he just looks like he knows exactly what he's doing, what he wants to do, what he's gonna do, what the dream and plan is. And that's experience, that's maturity. And you hear all the guys in the studio all the time. Malcolm and Seth this morning and Josh Pastner and all the guys about the value of experience. Like, you want talent. You'd rather have talent than experience. But if you can have both, then you got a real chance.
Brandon Williams picking up his second foul. We have had 39 foul calls in this game. We have over 13 minutes to play.
How lucky are we? Luckiest people in the world. Anton Watson right there.
And hits the jump hook. It caromed right to him. And it has been Watson's evening so far. He is up to 20 points to lead everybody.
Well, when I watched Gonzaga lose to Purdue, I was saying, what's wrong with Anton Watson? Because, I mean, he's been one of my favorite players ever since he came on the scene years ago. And he was just a total non-factor. But he's been back ever since that first game against Purdue, the eventual champions.
And then comes away with the strip there. Lead pass. Hickman, layup, no, but he's fouled. It's going to go against McClendon. Anton,
Watson down low. Bona is in such serious foul trouble that he's just putting his hands up and surrendering before the play. And then Watson steals it again and takes it away. The poised ones, Hickman, Watson, Nembhard, they're the ones who have allowed this separation for the Bulldogs.
Gonzaga having some issues at the free throw line, though, Bill. 11 for 21. Make it now 12 for 22. On the other side, UCLA, they've shot 25 free throws. They've made 18 of them. A huge reason why the score was just a 4-point differential at the break.
How many free throws did Purdue miss all week? Traveling violation. Great closeout by Dusty Stromer there. Just down the lane there in the rotation and the vertical leap there. Keep the head directly over the midpoint between the 2 feet. Balance, the ability to get to what's next. First, with quickness. Quickness, a mental skill, not a physical skill. And get the ball to Anton Watson.
Bona out there for UCLA, playing with the 3 fouls. Nembhard gives it up now to Hickman, under 10 to shoot. Watson will try a 3. Why not? Why not? Anton Watson has 23.
Player of the game, still very, very early. Mick Cronin has seen enough. He's got to go even deeper, but this has been the Anton Watson show, who's played in so many of these huge games. 2-time Final Four school. Gonzaga going up against UCLA, which has the second most ever. But tonight, Anton Watson, what are you going to do about it?
Anton Watson, he has been bringing it here this evening in the final game of this edition of the All-State Maui Invitational, Bill.
We've seen it all from Anton, not only with point productivity, creative shot taking, making, but we've also seen all the intangibles, playing the defense, getting the rebounds, mixing it up, and you just can see in his face that he knows this is a 2-hour-plus event and competition, and it's going to go right down to the wire. But this just handsome, brilliant young man learning under the tutelage of a brilliant leader and coach in Mark Few, and how these guys grow, mature, come together. And with Bona and Watson going head-to-head, this has just been a thing of beauty to watch, with the exception of the 40 fouls called, with 47 foul shots. in a 5th place game. God.
By the way, Watson, 23 points, ties his career high for 23 back in January of 2021 at Portland. Here's Bona, deep touch. And a soft touch around the rim. Gonzaga was on a 13-1 run prior to that bucket.
This is the way the Bruins play, though. They're seemingly out of it, and by the next time out, it'll be tied.
That also just seems to happen with these two teams.
Nick Cronin, he coaches, teaches, and his teams play winning basketball.
5 seconds to shoot. Watson.
Whoa.
Everything is working. A new career high for Anton Watson.
And when you think of the variety of shots that he's made, and all of them under duress, including throwdowns, the threes have been contested. The jump hook from the left block, the right block, shades of Tim Duncan, Kevin McHale, Akeem Olajuwon. Beautiful.
Bona now up to double figures. He has 11.
In how many minutes?
He has played about 15 minutes of this game because of some of the early foul trouble.
That's sad.
Stromer can't hit the pull-up. And then a tug-of-war between Stefanovic and Bona for the rebound.
I love watching Dusty Stromer the way I love watching Johnny Furphy playing for Kansas. Just beautiful guys who complement the team game magnificently.
They get it to Bona, squares up this time.
That's an offensive foul.
Oh, and he's going to be called for the offensive foul. You called it in the act there, Bill. 4 fouls for Adem Bona.
Anton Watson just doing fantastic. It's elementary. Please, get the ball and put it in the hoop. Make a shot, guard somebody, get a rebound, win the game. That is Anton elementary, my dear Watson.
Well, you got some Thanksgiving hoops at the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis. You see North Carolina and Villanova in the first semifinal, 2:30 Eastern on ESPN, followed by Memphis and number 20 Arkansas at 5 on ESPN2.
How many animals did Jimmy Dykes engage with this week down at the Atlantis?
I believe we had 2 at least on video.
Cosmo
the dolphin.
Right, and then there was the sea lion.
That's right.
And what was the sea lion?
Sebastian, or Sibo was the nickname that they were able to develop by virtue of their close relationship.
Is that like AWAT?
That's are you trying to see if that sticks? The AWAT nickname for Anton Watson?
I'm for Mr. Elementary.
Well, AWAT, or however you want to refer to him, he's brought his A game, 25 points, 11 of 12 from the field, a career high. The rest of the Gonzaga team, 30 points on 8 of 29 shooting.
So be at your best when your best is needed. And the disappointing loss by getting Gonzaga, but Purdue was the best team, and Purdue deserved to win the championship. Congratulations to Matt Painter, Zach Edey, and all the guys who worked so hard. They got a real team there, Purdue. And Gonzaga is working their way to that level.
By the way, Nuba for UCLA just picked up his 5th personal foul. So with all of the fouls that have been called, he is the first to officially foul out here in this game. That's now 42 total foul calls.
He won't be the last. What is the record for the
well, we're still chasing
the fewest number of minutes played and fouling out?
that's an interesting one. We're also, if you're asking or wondering about the foul totals, even in this tournament, this edition of the tournament, we're still chasing Purdue and Tennessee the other day, where they combined for, I believe it was 52 personal fouls.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Purdue shot 48 free throws in that game. Here's Berke, Uyuktangel. And a foul on the reach is going to go against Nolan Hickman.
Watson took an elbow to the face. Whoa. Berke, tough, rugged, incredible experience already, just 18, 19 years old. But Watson walks away from that. Yikes.
Here's Stefanovic off the inbound.
Just missed.
Sails long. Rusty Stromer collects it for Gonzaga.
That's why you keep your hands up on the rebounds, to protect your face. If you're still lucky enough to play basketball, don't play defense with your face.
Oh, Feeble putting in some good defensive work here tonight for UCLA. Sebastian Mack gets it to Stefanovic. The double clutch goes.
Lazar has been able to make some real positive offensive contributions for the Bruins, who are hanging in, haven't had really much of a run here in the second half, because Watson has just been so superb.
Speaking of Watson, here he is driving the lane and finishing again. He has been unstoppable, 27 and still counting.
And Watson is just playing a fearless game. Because when you go down the lane tonight, you're taking your life in your hands.
Mack for three. Feeble with the offensive board. Mack from the other side. Got it!
Bruins climbing their way back up the mountain.
I mean, they just do not go away whenever you feel like Gonzaga got something going behind Anton Watson, who's going to try a three and hit again. It is a cool 30-burger for Anton Watson.
The wonderful thing about what Mick Cronin has brought back to the Bruins is that his teams, they never lay down. They never quit.
Mack unable to hit the open three.
Lazar Stefanovic has just been superb on anticipation. And the shot clock did not start again once it was reset.
We've had to deal with that issue a couple of times, but that gets us to a timeout. 7:24 left to play in the last game of this edition of the All-State Maui Invitational. It has been the Anton Watson exhibition. 30 points, 13 of 14 from the field. Zags by 9.
Let it fly.
Welcome back. Time now for tonight's play of the game, driven by Continental Tire.
When Sebastian Mack comes down the lane, tries to get it up, initially surrounded by three Bulldogs who are protecting the dinner bowl. The ball goes straight up into the air and then somehow finds its way down after kissing the clouds, going through the rainbow, and a real shining moment for the UCLA Bruins.
Bruins trailing by 9. Meanwhile, Anton Watson, Bill, he has scored the last 10 points for Gonzaga and 15 of their 22 second half points.
13 of 14 from the floor.
He's got a career high 30.
He's chasing Giannis from the other night. Giannis 20 for 23 in an NBA game. Oh my gosh. But to see the great support of the communities for both schools, John Branca here representing UCLA alum, and then down to our left, we've got the McCarthy brothers who have just supported everything Gonzaga. They support a lot of schools, but they're here for Gonzaga as they almost always are. Phil and Tom, thank you guys for your lives, which has given us ours.
5 seconds to shoot. They get it to Bona, and we have a foul on Watson, trying to defend in the post.
Oh my gosh.
That's his third. 44 is now the foul count.
Okay. This is hard to call this a foul in a game that's already had. That's the 44th foul of the night, 45th.
45. You can barely get the tally out before the next one is called.
So wait a second. I did a game one time. It was an exhibition game for college basketball in China. Pac-12 Conference of Champions Initiative in Shanghai. Texas versus University of Washington. An exhibition game, trying to sell the game to the Chinese people at the collegiate level. There were 80 foul shots taken in the game. I think the game took like 4 hours to play. Oh my goodness gracious.
Stefanovic goes 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Some of the foul trouble, you have a Dembona playing with 4 fouls. A Daimata who started for UCLA, we haven't seen much of him. He has 3. And then you have 6 different Gonzaga Bulldogs, each with 3 fouls. Under 7 to play.
Creative offense. Poise, competitive greatness. Who can finish?
Nembhard, the fadeaway. Offensive rebound,
Dusty.
Stromer.
Yeah. Notre Dame. The feeder for USC football for all those years. The Vela brothers. The seamless transition to Dusty Stromer. Shot clock.
Hickman lost the handle, and Mack able to take it away.
Push the ball if you're UCLA. Get some action away from the dribble. Good things generally happen in a rough and tumble game when you do that.
Graham Ike making his way to the scorer's table to check back in for the Zags. 10 to shoot. Andrews. Too strong. Rebound corralled by Huff.
Timing, position, and it helps to be 6'11" with long arms and that beautiful left-hand touch that he has.
And a foul on the drive by Nembhard's going to go against Mack. That'll be his second.
This game, because of the physical nature and everybody banging and holding on to each other, it's been very difficult for Ryan Nembhard to get free for his beautiful game.
UCLA beyond the 10 foul limit, and so Gonzaga will be granted 2 free throws here. Ryan Nembhard averaging 11 points, 6.5 assists in this tourney coming into this game as a Dembona checks back in with 4 fouls. And he will be attached to Graham Ike, no doubt, at either end. Ike with 3 fouls, having moments ago checked back in as well.
The experience of and the maturity of Gonzaga against the competitive nature and greatness of Mick Cronin's young but very talented team.
Here's Bona. Has to be careful.
Great defense, Ike.
Finds McClendon for 3, doesn't go.
Watson. A rhythm on the defensive glass.
And a block on Nembhard on the take. Anton Watson's numbers now up to 30 points, the career high in scoring. How about 7 rebounds to go along with that stat line?
I just want the referees to let Ike and Bona finish this game. Just let them play.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They're not going to start a fight.
And that is a fun matchup. And foul trouble has kind of gotten in the way. Here's Ike on the follow, blocked by Bona. And Stefanovic out of there with it. And he will be called for the offensive foul. It goes the other way. Mick Cronin beside himself.
Hickman was in the perfect position. 47th foul and counting. Hickman is right there in perfect position. Are you old enough to remember when players would stop at the free throw line? You ever heard of John Stockton?
A pull-up or a pass?
You ever heard of Mike Warren? Lucius Allen, Greg Lee, Henry Bibby. Beautiful
nice
pass.
dish. Watson punches it with 2 hands. It's up to 32.
Great step out by Ike.
Ebley on the drive gets fouled by Stromer. That's his 3rd.
Phenomenal pass by Ryan Nembhard. And the way that they're thinking for their teammates when they're coming to the hoop. There's so much athleticism and size and strength in this game and basketball at any level today. And when you're coming to the hoop, you know, unless you're a phenomenal finisher above the rim, think about passing the ball, please. Happiness begins when selfishness ends, and that is the epitome of this Gonzaga team.
Gonzaga has all 8 of its players that have seen action.
This is the best I've ever seen Elon Feebley play. Just a freshman.
All 8 of Gonzaga's players that have seen action with 3 personal fouls. Closing in on 4 minutes to play. They're trying to see if EK can get the ball in the post.
Over the top.
Bona trying to front him.
Get to the hoop if you're Anton Watson.
5 seconds to shoot. Watson gives it up to Hickman. Extra pass. Stromer blocked by Feebley. And Ike can't get a shot up. The freshman Elon Feebley has made some plays on the defensive end here for UCLA.
Everywhere. Contributions on both ends of the court. Bruins still alive.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Novavax. Choose to protect your family and loved ones this holiday season with Novavax. Hawaiian Airlines serving Maui with nonstop flights from Kahului to 10 West Coast cities. And by Continental Tire, the smart choice in tires.
Well, I know each community has some central point, gathering point. And the Lahaina Civic Center is one of those for Lahaina. So repurposing it fits with the needs of the community, and we've got to always continue to meet the needs of the community. So we had to overhaul this from a basketball court, civic center type of operation to an operation that you see in the background. Hope starts from the heart, right? That we feel that there is someone that cares for us, and that's why we continue to say Lahaina strong. And this tournament will make Lahaina stronger because they know that some of the attention will be not only on Lahaina, continuing to be on Lahaina, but then the people around the world that are watching the basketball game can always have in the back of their minds Lahaina strong.
And so Lahaina Civic Center, which is currently being used as a resource hub over on the island of Maui.
And the fire came right to the edge of the community center where we played all the games. And we're currently 80 miles from Maui. But what Francis, who was the speaker in that segment there, what he does, you know, he's with HEMA, Hawaiian Emergency Management.
Yeah.
And then they had FEMA, which was Brad and Noel. But all these heroes who, when they find trouble, when they see trouble, they head right to it. Lazar Stevanovic, goodness, responding himself. Bring it on.
Well, you can learn more about how Maui is recovering from the devastating fires and the ongoing need for support by visiting hawaiicommunityfoundation.org. So here we go, 3.5 minutes left to play. Gonzaga by 7.
Decision-making, spacing the floor.
5 seconds to shoot. Hickman, got to get it up. Just barely does. It hits the back iron. Rebound. Watson had his hands on it, but he couldn't hang on.
We'd like to give a shout out to Ivan the Terrific here, who's been keeping the calculations all night long. There's been so many that he's had to do. He's worked every game in the entire tournament for both broadcast teams. But he's come up with something I've never seen before. Stickers to update how many fouls have been called, how many foul shots, how many have been made.
Here's Bona. Lost it. Had to go down to the floor for it. And they're going to call a tie-up. Possession arrow keeps it here in this direction. Yeah, I'll second the motion on Ivan Sokolsky. Giant in the industry. I mean, we just want to say mahalo for the efforts all week long. Purdue going home with the hardware, but this is your 5th place game, and it's a pretty darn good matchup, and it's not over yet with 2:46 to play.
This is as great a 5th place game as I've ever been involved in.
9 seconds to shoot here on this possession for the Bruins. Three seconds to shoot. It's Andrews. Doesn't go. Ball goes out of bounds, and it once again stays in this direction. Ike and Bona winding up on the hardwood.
When you're trying to establish your defensive presence and position for the rebound, that's all a result of the defense that you play in advance of the play. And so as both teams getting pushed underneath the basket, extend your defense initially, and then you're already in perfect position. You don't have to spend time trying to push backwards, which is not really going to work at a game of this level. Ike and Bona getting into it.
Yeah, Bona has to be a little more careful than Ike at the moment with the 4 fouls compared to Ike's 3.
Beautiful.
Stefanovic for 3. Offensive board, Feeble. Mack down the lane. Ike will be called for the foul. That's number 4 on him.
Bruins looking to take it to the hoop every single time. On first glance, it looked like Ike had perfect position and was just jumping straight up and down.
Was it the coming down with the arms there, or was that a call that you disagree with?
I disagree with that one. Play on.
So here's Mack at the free throw line. He is very comfortable in this position, shooting free throws. I mentioned 85% on the year, was 13 for 13 on day 1 against Marquette from the line.
That's not the first call I disagreed with tonight. But one of the things I love about Sebastian Mack, he's hungry, but he's also limping right now. But he wants to be a star. He wants to have the light shine on him.
2:20 left to go, Gonzaga by 6. And of course, as I'm singing the praises of his fine work at the free throw line, he goes 1 and 2 on that trip.
It's all good. Sebastian Mack is someone we'll be talking about and witnessing for quite a few years. Everybody grimacing right now, including our audience.
That's Bill Walton. I'm Kanoa Leahy. And Bill, this is a game that has featured to this point 49 fouls. It has been disjointed. There hasn't been much of a discernible rhythm or flow, and yet it's a 6-point differential. UCLA still very much in this thing.
And it's most likely going to come down to the very last possession. That's the way these two teams are. But when you find yourself in times of trouble like this type of game where it's just endless stoppages, just don't spend your time standing toe-to-toe with somebody. Get running, get moving. Basketball is a game of motion, of team, of flow. And if you're just going to stand there and slug it out, you're not going to win that battle when you got guys like Graham Ike and Adem Bona, who are two of the great physical specimens in all the land, any age, any level, any type of competition.
You look at how prominent the free throw shooting has been to the overall scenario of this game. UCLA 23 of 31. They have scored 23 of their 58 points from the line. Meanwhile, what the score could look like if Gonzaga had been better to this point from the free throw line, just 14 of 25, 56%.
It's never good when you're talking about a basketball game and the main talking point is fouls and free throws.
That's a very fair point, my friend.
Spread the floor, play some team basketball, and let's see some skill here. But the defense by Dylan Andrews denying Ryan Nembhard almost all night long.
And Gonzaga hasn't scored in about 2.5 minutes. Here's Nembhard trying to change that. Tough angle, rebound Bona. Under 2 to go.
Great defense by the entire Bruins squad. Gonzaga needs Anton Watson again. Nembhard cannot guard Bona down low. Fortunately, Greg goes over there.
Andrews can't hit. Feeble, the board, puts it back up and in. Elon Feeble with some of the hustle points that have been key for UCLA hanging in this.
Nembhard continues to try to walk the ball up the court.
Nembhard, it's been a 7-0 UCLA run. Stromer tapped it to himself.
Let it fly, Anton.
He thought about it. Already sitting on a career-high 32.
Beautiful.
Bounce pass to a cutting
Beautiful.
Hickman.
Could not have been more timely, more cerebral, or more calmly executed. Sort of like the antithesis of me.
The lead is 6 here for Gonzaga.
Great defense, Dusty.
Stefanovic nails the 3. It's a one-possession game with 56.1 left to go.
You seem surprised. That's the way all these games go, Gonzaga and UCLA. A long jumper. Feeble has just been everywhere. He's just jumping over people. He's earning himself a lot more playing time. Feeble, then the beautiful pass by Anton Watson to always in motion, but seldom promoting himself, Nolan Hickman. And then Lazar Stefanovic, who's been everywhere all night long.
Yeah, Stefanovic, 2 of 4 from outside the arc. He has 16 points and 8 rebounds. As we take a more macro view here of this thing, Anton Watson with the career high 32, 14 of 15 from the field, just a ridiculous percentage. UCLA, meanwhile, trailed by as many as 13. Last led with 16-39 in the second half. Meeting for the 4th straight season. Some of their more recent meetings have been in the postseason, in March in the dance. This one coming a little earlier in the festivities here this college basketball year, but it has been, to this point, just as competitive.
Well, the Bruin faithful can rest assured that Jalen Suggs is not here right now, and he's in the NBA. But the ability of these guys to rise above the challenges and the sluggishness of the way this game has become a lot of standing around. It's time to finish this one off.
Some unsung heroes for UCLA to keep them in the mix, including Ilan Feeble right there, the freshman. 4 of his 6 points. Also 3 rebounds coming in the second half. He has made some hustle plays at the defensive end as well. 1 timeout remaining for UCLA compared to 2 for Gonzaga. 56.1 to play.
And no Graham Ike. Ben Gregg in the lineup right now. Ike didn't foul out.
No, he has 4 fouls. They're sitting him here for this defensive possession.
They're on offense.
For this, yeah, you're right. Bona sitting on is on the floor for UCLA here in that defensive possession.
Who can create? Who can finish?
Yeah, interesting that Graham Ike was on the bench. Here is the pull-up by Dylan Andrews.
Get a rebound, Ben Gregg. Now that's a man's rebound for the 6'10" junior from Clackamas, Oregon. Just below, actually it's above Oregon City Falls, but the anticipation of this young man in every aspect of his game. And he can rebound, he can defend, he can score, he can finish. But now he's got the weight of the world on those big, broad shoulders.
And there is Ike on the bench. 4 personal fouls attached to him. Meanwhile, you have Gregg shooting the free throw. He was 1 for 3 prior to that one. He's now 2 for 4 in the game.
There can't be any fouls to give.
And he goes 1 of 2. So 4-point differential, 2-possession game. UCLA has it. Mack pulls up, goes off glass. No.
Ben Gregg
Rebound
again.
Gregg again. Out to Stromer, and the reach-in foul by Stefanovic.
When push comes to shove, Ben Gregg with 3 Gs. Good, great, and gracious.
8.7 to go, and Gonzaga sitting in a good position at the moment. An interesting decision, though, Bill, down the stretch. Graham Ike.
Well, it's paid off. Ben Gregg made the free throw, got the rebound. Mark Few, he knew his team. He's got the right combination of guys on the floor now. They still got to hold on and win this game. Beautiful stroke. Dusty.
That was Stromer's first free throw attempt here tonight.
And as much as EK wants to be in this game, beautiful stroke. He's the first one off the bench. He's calling it over, EK is. He just stood up and waved everybody off and said, this is ours.
Stefanovic, desperation no. The follow-up by Andrews, yes. And UCLA will use its final timeout here with 1.2 remaining. We're going to need something in the category of a miracle. As you take a look at Graham Ike on the bench, 4 fouls, was not out there for the last several offensive possessions for Gonzaga. The story for the Zags, though, without a doubt, Anton Watson with the career-high 32 points, and he has done it in all kinds of ways, Bill.
And the movement without the ball by Anton Watson, understanding that it's a rough and tumble game, but his versatility. And here's a guy who played all those years in the shadow of Drew Timme, Corey Kispert, and all the different stars. And now it's his turn to shine, and he has certainly done that. We have another Tommy Bahama award here, and every day in Hawaii is a Tommy Bahama day.
Yeah, player of the game brought to you by Tommy Bahama. Easy pick considering the stat line for this guy. That's his scoring right there. He also has 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, and 2 steals.
And this is his career high, correct?
By a long shot. Previous career high was 23.
He reached that in the first half.
Pretty close.
So how many total points does he have?
He's got 32.
32 in a 69-point game. That's a good night. Congratulations, Spencer Dahl. He'll have your Tommy Bahama package after the game. Whoa.
Watson can run the
ball in
baseline.
bounds.
Nothing was there, so Gonzaga still with a couple of timeouts. They'll use one.
Well, they're calling something here. Kelly is. Oh, they're calling it just a timeout.
Yeah, just a timeout. They didn't want to take any chances.
So why?
Wild inbound pass.
Why would Anton Watson run to his left? He's a right-handed player, and that's a very difficult pass to be able to throw up the court.
Well, especially to his left, you put yourself underneath the basket.
Yeah, so, but fake left, come back right, throw the ball up the field. Omaha.
It has been an entertaining week here in Honolulu, Hawaii.
All Gonzaga has to do is get the ball up the court inbounds. Don't throw it in underneath UCLA's basket. There you go.
There it is over the top. It's Greg, and that'll do it. Gonzaga will leave Honolulu, Hawaii with 2 victories in the All-State Maui Invitational.
And now the Bulldogs' 4th consecutive victory over UCLA. And in the 9 overall games between these 2 legendary programs, Gonzaga leads 7-2. What a game, what a night, what a tournament. Thank you, Hawaii. Thank you, ESPN. Thank you, Maui Invitational. And thank you, Kanoa, the free one, for your patience, your kindness, your generosity in my life. I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
The honor has been mine. We want to bid an aloha and our mahalo to all involved with this tournament and share our love with the people of Maui in the process. Final score 69-65. What a day. Purdue with the championship. What a tournament. Even had a fun game for 5th place to end things. Highlights throughout, smiles on so many faces. And this entire time, always with Lahaina and the rebuilding process, the recovery efforts on our minds, in our hearts, our aloha, our prayers with you in the sentiment of Lahaina Strong. For Bill Walton, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Thank you for joining us for the All-State Maui Invitational.
Life with purpose. What